Marvel! Ha ha! You've done it again. So, this has been making the rounds. The way my YouTube channel goes, I used to try to keep up with all the news and stuff. I get to it when I get to it, whatever. So, or let me fix this here. There we go. I release it when I release it. You made Star-Lord bisexual and polyamorous? Now, and when I talk about my I'm Not Starfire video or whatever, I'll bring this up. But news has come out, and this is going to be something I may say a few times. Demon Slayer sold somewhere north of 80 million copies. I've seen 82, I've seen 100. Just in Japan. I think the second one made like 8 million. It was something I'm not really into. I know My Hero recently did a little over 6 million. I know Demon Slayer is about to beat Bleacher's record. I think the third one is like One Piece, and they're at like 7 something. You got Dogman, that's like at a million or so. Reign of Telemager's thing, I think, is at like 2 million. I could be off. But basically, because I was going to say this for a different video. I'll even throw the numbers up here for the manga. I'm going to try to find a chart. Matter of fact, you know what? Marvel DC. They playing with millions, and you hugging on thousands. You know why? Because of crap like this. Stuff like I'm Not Starfire. That's where you're gonna go? They making stuff like Demon Slayer that's getting people excited, okay? You making stuff, I'm Not Starfire because I need to make a goth chick even though like it's 1995. Like, what? Then you turn around because this thing here inspired this video. First off, who I don't know who wrote it because I didn't look it up because I'm kind of just doing this off the cuff after I read it, and I don't even remember because I stopped right there and was like done. So this is from your movie Disney, the Marvel. You took and made Star-Lord one of my favorite characters. He's in my top 10. He's my favorite Guardian of the Galaxy. I bought his single issues. When you came out with the thing to try to rework him a little to make him fit more with the movie, which a lot of people say, Star-Lord didn't fit the movies, it's completely different characters. No, it's not. I started getting into Guardians of the Galaxy prior to Annihilation when it was the Future Group. My favorite character from there was Charlie. And then what happened was that after, like, I followed Star-Lord for a while. Don't get me twisted. Like, he had the cybernetic parts, and he had him do the cool visuals, and he did all this really cool stuff, and then they took it away. After Annihilation, with the Kree thing, he was like a soldier, but the guy stole the Star-Lord title, and like he was kind of he reminded me a little bit more of like a swashbuckling kind of guy. But when they did the ones afterwards with the group, I actually openly laughed at the comic, like in a good way. Guardians of the Galaxy had a lot of comedy to it, and Star-Lord isn't like as funny as he is with the Chris Pratt thing, but Star-Lord he lightened up a bit, and he was a little bit more comedic. And people can say I'm wrong. No, I think I'm right, because I've read the comics. And people act like he was a straight-laced guy who was just serious all the time. And I'm like, no, he had his moments. And he was kind of a sneaky a-hole a lot of times. It's just that they made him more charming in the movies, and then in the comics they slowly started to push him more into the charming thing, where he's kind of the guy you love, but he's kind of an idiot sometimes. But he does have a lot of strategy, and he does have that background. Like, he's not a dumb guy, and he just seems that way, but he's actually got, you know, stuff working on up here. And after Donny Cates run, they had the thing with Gamora and him establishing a relationship, which was definitely something taken from the movies. Especially how Gamora's look changed and stuff, but they kind of played that up, where they were together doing stuff. I haven't finished all of Donnie's thing yet. Donnie's run was awesome. And you now, out of nowhere, we're going to put him 100 years into some alternate reality, and they became a throuple, so now he's this. You did that to spite Chris Pratt. I'm now, after that, and I seen what the Chris Pratt did, and Elliot Page, that was not on purpose. I'm still getting used to it. Because I have something to say, and I got a video coming about that too. But Elliot Page, back when Elliot was Ellen Page, called out him and his church about they were investigating it or something, and I'm like, investigating what? And they're like anti this, and Chris Pratt was like, no, my church is always open. And ever since that happened, they've just been attacking him. They're calling him a Trump supporter because, no, over 70 million people didn't vote for Donald Trump. I'm like, why do you care? Oh, it's because of this. No, actually, who someone votes for doesn't define who they are. So, here's a crazy concept. Sometimes people vote for their party, even if they don't like the candidate, because they're more supportive of their party. Oh my goodness, I just blew my own mind. So now, you've officially, I literally looked at the comic and went, well, never buying these again. Now, before anybody starts sitting there, hit the thumbs down and goes, oh, he's a istophobe. I read X Factor. I especially loved when they were the detective agency. I openly cheered reading the comic when I saw Shatterstar and Richter get together. You know why? Because they were kind of hinting to certain things over time, and Richter was kind of going through some stuff, and it was kind of leading where you kind of said, hey, is Shatterstar and him something for years, and they finally culminated it? That's called foreshadowing. That's called storytelling. It was something built up over time, where it was like, wait, are they? Oh, man. And they just had that connection. I am totally 100% fine with Wiccan and Hulkling. I know they call him something else. I like calling him Hulkling because that's my introduction. Back when I bought the Young Avengers comics, when I was buying Young Avengers and Runaways, and they were some of my favorite comics to read at the time, outside of Guardians of the Galaxy. And when those two were together, I was like, oh, that's really cool. I actually liked how they did that. They started them off new characters who already started gay. I love John Constantine. He's bisexual. I have no issues with that whatsoever. Deadpool, bisexual. I actually, at one point, I was buying all of his comics. Mercs for the Money. They had a Deadpool comic. Then they had the little sub one with his wife, who was like the Queen of the Monsters. Then they had the the Deadpool corpse. I bought all of that. It was actually costing me a lot of money at that time. And I can tell you this right now, outside of buying the Independents and Boom and stuff, like I've been buying, the reason why I've been able to buy more, because this will be reviewed, more books, drop something, more books like these lately, is because I've been saving so much money, not spending hundreds of dollars on DC and Marvel anymore, because they're too busy preaching instead of telling a good story. Then I heard there was some lady who tried to tell Japan, you need to appeal to the Western market and write comics like us. They playing with millions, you holding on to thousands. You don't get to tell nobody no advice, okay? I'm a fan of Brian Michael Bendis. Well, his previous work. His current work, I'm not the biggest fan of, except for Young Justice. I actually personally like Young Justice. Superman is doing like 30,000. Or 30-something thousands. Superman! One of the most recognizable characters and symbols in the world. Over 7 billion people. Most people know Superman symbol, Batman symbol, Spider-Man symbol, Mario. Yet, Superman's comic is like selling a little over 30,000. What's wrong with this picture? Because you're making decisions like this. I'm not reading that anymore. You've officially killed Starlord for me. And I know you might sit there and be like, oh, well, whatever, you're just one person. Fine. Whoever likes it, likes it. Anole. I love that character. Now, somebody, if I can find his name, I'll put him on here. That asked me a long time ago when I did my first set of videos. About, hey, talk about a character that you think Marvel ruined. Anole. I loved that character. Ruined him. They barely use him now. He was a gay character. He was interesting. He was exciting. And they just screwed him. They're like, all right, we're done with him now. I champion for Northstar. Because I think Northstar is an underrated character. Because I think for speedsters, they concentrate so much on Quicksilver. They ignore Speed. And they ignore Northstar. I'm like, well, Northstar is supposed to be known as a speedster. Why isn't Marvel bumping up the speedsters more? Maybe, their own little speedster. Speed had this cool ability where he could touch stuff and get the molecules to go so fast that they explode. So he could do these cool things where he could make things explode. They barely use the character now. Northstar, I think, just recently showed up in an X-Men book. I don't read X-Men anymore because of the Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey thing. Sorry. Wolverine's not gay. And he's not bi. Wolverine's straight. I don't accept any other things. Now, like I said, some people go, well, you gotta change the times. No. Make a new character. Or, if you want to use a gay character, how about use some of the characters I just suggested to you that are already existing? No, what they do is they do this little quick throw together Iceman crap. Which, by the way, Iceman was another one of my favorite characters. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. He's one of my favorite X-Men characters. One of my favorite characters to play with, even though I sucked with him in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Done with him. Don't buy his comics anymore. I am not going to, and apparently a lot of people aren't, going to keep accepting the garbage that you're trying to shovel down our throats and then call everyone an istophobe when they don't like it. And you did it out of spite. And you know what? I actually was one of the people who used to be like, there is no way that they made this new woke warrior thing the most ridiculous, stupidest idea that sneakily, I think, became a trade just to get back at a couple YouTubers. I was like, I was hearing about it, and I'm like, these guys are making less than 40K or around roughly between 30 and 40K in New York. That's poverty. If you were smart, you would live in Jersey. Even though it's still high, you'd be better off living in Jersey to New York. But nah, they're not going to do that. Because apparently they don't know how to make smart decisions. Obviously from their comics. When I was a kid, I used to want to write comic books. I wanted to write Hulk stories and Marvel and DC. I love Marvel and DC. And you guys, all your behavior, the stuff I see, the trash, that comes, I'm like, no way. And you don't pay anyone, yet 2 levels above, these people are getting 6-figure incomes. Let's look at Marvel, Salah Aminet and stuff. And I forgot her name right now. It's escaping me. The one that did Miss Marvel and handled that. They're making 6 figures, while other people, I might be right, Salma. Whatever. They're making 6 figures while the people who are doing the comics are barely able to eat. That's garbage. Now, Donny Cates is writing stuff. I kind of wish I got into I kind of became more of a Donny Cates fan this past year. I've been buying some of his back stuff. I'm going to buy his store. I didn't get on it right away because the pandemic messed it up. And but yeah, lately I getting that erratic. A lot of comics I am getting. Last Ronin and stuff. It's like 5 issues, 6 issues, and they're done. My comics went from me spending over $90 a month, sometimes 150 or more a month, down to I'm probably going to be spending roughly $15. And very few titles are Marvel and DC. Um, I'm going to be getting the Hulk and the Omnibus. So seeing this is stuff like this is the exact reason why manga is destroying you. While you would back in the 90s, we had comic book creators and Levi's commercials. If I told someone some of these names now, they would look like, huh? Who's that? The highest grossing movie in the world ever is a comic book movie, and that doesn't translate to your comic book sales. You think Avengers right now is doing anywhere close to like 200,000 at least? You have Cyberfrog, a random frog person, doing more money than your comics. And before anyone goes, oh, well, he has the cult. It's a cult. Well, guess what? That cult's making that man money. You playing with thousands. They playing with millions. You holding on to those thousands because you want to get your message out there for the istophobes. Like, come on, man. You legitimately just ruined a character. I'm not buying any more Guardians. That's literally... Star-Lord is literally in my top 10 favorite characters. He's my favorite Guardian of the Galaxy. When Guardians of the Galaxy was even being announced, that people were sitting there saying, a talking tree and a talking raccoon. I'm like, I'm telling you, this movie's going to be fire. The comic is amazing. It's funny. It's enjoyable. I'm telling you, this movie is going to be a hit. And it was, I think at the time when it came out, Marvel's single highest grossing released movie that wasn't part of like an Avengers. Like just a, like Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, like that. Guardians was beating all of them. Chris Pratt of the parent company has brought you in tons of money, and you're going to turn around and you're going to do this all because you can snicker and go, hey, 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 hey. He has to play a bisexual person. That's what this is. Just so you can say it. Oh, we're forcing him to play a character that canonically is bisexual and polyamorous. If there was a lead up, I wouldn't be as mad. There's no lead up. There's no, hey, he's kind of showing a little bit of interest in some people. Constantine, even Deadpool. I've seen him show interest in men over time. And it took a while before I seen him with a man, but I was like, okay, I understand. You know what? He was kind of looking at a guy, or he would say certain things, do certain stuff, like there was words or certain things like exchange that would come out. But no, what you guys did instead, you just did this. You had no good reason. And the story was trash. And you can sit there and go, well, you don't do what I do. I don't care. I'm the person that's buying your comics. Well, I was. And you did this out of spite? You could try to say, oh, you did it. No, you did it out of spite. We got Black Adam switching out characters left and right, and people still trying to defend it. They just recently took the redheaded Irish character and replaced them with a black character. Again. A redheaded person gets replaced by a black person again. Why can't you just use the black characters that were already established? You know what the problem is too? Comic books only go one way because you're not making dynamic stories anymore. You're not making stories where I want to grasp and hold and yell at the top of my lungs, this is amazing. You get your few. Immortal Hulk, for example. Like I said, I came late to the game because my thing got mixed up, so I'm just going to buy the omnibuses. Hulk's my boy, forever. But that's not translating to your movies. Like the movies, see? So the movies are highest grossing movies. Yet your comic sales are... I think they just made 200 something million off of a limited release to Demon Slayer. I know that My Hero Academia's movies and Dragon Ball's movies are doing really well over here. By the way, that those millions all throughout, that's just Japan. That's not including America. And then yet you got the comic book writer sitting there saying, see, these numbers prove comic book industry's doing better than ever. Is it now? Remove manga, because you don't work on manga. Remove the young adult things like Raina Telmeyer Smile and stuff like that. Remove Dogman. What are your comics selling? What are your floppies selling? Superman's barely doing 30,000s. I know Batman had like a little bit. I think Tom King's run had above average drop on DC. And it wasn't like tanked. Like people like they tanked. They didn't tank. It just did really bad. I can't remember the exact numbers that Batman was doing. I think it was in the 30s or 40s too. But I know it was like they did beyond DC's failure rate. So my whole thing, this is just this turned from a Chris Pratt, this made me angry, into a rant about the industry. Like I said, I'll throw a couple things up here, but basically, you guys need to stop, or people, since that's offensive now, like I don't care. You guys need to stop doing that. You need to stop with the Captain Marvel, No More Men. I seen that thing with the terrible artwork. Like, I want comic books should be competing with manga to do the millions. Superman, Spider-Man, Batman. Spider-Man makes $1 billion as a merchandise franchise on its own. Comic sales don't reflect that. See, when people read manga, what happens here is that a lot of times they're watching something and they like it. Or they see a video clip and they look at the anime. But then the anime makes them want to read the manga. See, there's a thing here. One piece makes them want to go to the next pieces. When it comes to comic books, it's such a niche market because the comic book industry made it that way. Because they're too busy like, well, we can't invite people in. Like, instead of making new accessible things, I know this because I've seen it. So I remember in my comic book shop, some people wanted to get Captain America because they loved Captain America Civil War. Or Winter Soldier. So they wanted to start reading some Captain America. Who was Captain America? Captain Falcon. Really? I'm not saying you have to do one-to-one. You don't even have to make the same story, but at least have it be Steve Rogers being Steve Rogers in a comic, or have a congruent comic with it so they can send him over there. Nah. And I've seen it where people are like, oh, who's that? No. You need to do better marketing. You need to do better synergy, and you need to stop with this whole, let's make a black Batman. Oh, this is going to make the right people angry. Yes, it is. The right people are angry now. While your bank accounts are going, but the right people are angry. Mm-hmm. Oh, while manga, like my Shield Hero. Aren't you worried about the implications of false accusations? That's a lie. You know what that guy said? That's stupid. Oh, I'm just counting my money. What'd you say? Oh, I don't care. They're making stories because they're not worried about your stupid politics. Stop worrying about politics. Make better books. That's all I ask. And stop doing this kind of crap. Because literally, I have dropped so many books because I'm like, I'm done with this woke crap. I'm done with it. I'm done with this garbage. Stop trying to preach to me that straight men are bad or something. You want to use a gay character? Fine. I just went through a list of them, of people part of the LGBTQ community. My favorite character was Supergirl's Dreamer. I actually loved how they did Dreamer. So, before you jump on and go, it's the phobe or whatever, pay attention to what I said. I want those characters. I think it's great. Oversaturating the market with the young adult where every single character is a female who's trying to find herself, but she has a thing and she's an outcast, but yet she gets the pretty girl, and the pretty girl does this thing, and then somehow they're magically together, because that happens in reality all the time, and it's always a goth person, and it's always someone who's overweight, and always someone that is this. There's no variety. You're doing the same thing. I want those, but those things don't sell so well. So what you do is you make those characters amazing so people can't deny the awesomeness of those characters. But you're too busy just trying to say, you're supposed to love Captain Marvel, instead of making an epic story to make me love Captain Marvel. Deadpool got popular because of how Deadpool was working up. You can't just sit there and tell us who is awesome and then go, that's why. And if you're not, you're istophobe. No, you need to do better. Do better. Take the lesson that you've learned from 2020, where someone sold over 80 million copies, possibly 100. Take that lesson and put it to heart. Don't make crap like this. You want to make a non-binary, polyamorous, bisexual character? Use one that's already existing, or make a new character. Because at least I'm Not Starfire is a new character that I'm not going to read because that thing looks like trash, because it is trash. I'm going to call it right now. It's going to fail. Now, I'll come back if it doesn't fail. I got a funny feeling it's going to fail like the 99% of the other attempts that they make. And I buy some of the young adult ones, like the Super Sons. I haven't got to read it yet. So, whatever. This is the Geek Protagonist. Stop this garbage. You just made me drop another book. You keep doing this, you're just going to keep saving me money, and I'm going to just turn to alternatives. And eventually, I'm going to read manga. And one reason why I don't like reading manga all the time, I don't really care for the black and white. But guess what? Story's going to start to outweigh it. And I'm going to indies and crowdfunding more. Because they're better stories, because they're trying to tell me a cool story instead of trying to tell me who I'm supposed to vote for. Good job, guys. You did it again, Marvel. Yeah! Geek Protagonist, you stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real, and I'll see you. Hey, thank you for visiting my channel. This is the Geek Protagonist. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Please, it'll really help me out in the channel if you actually share these videos, if you like what I'm doing. Please hit that bell notification. Hit it, click. This way you won't miss any of my videos. Also, there's a thing on there that says personal and all. Hit the all. This way you'll get them every time for the notifications. I'm trying to, grow, trying to do commentary about what's going on. And I want to thank you again. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay real. This is the Geek Protagonist. I'm out, and I'll see you.